Hello, beautiful people. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good everything. Has it get any better than that? We are on day. Can you believe it? I figured if I was doing this for like the sign language 10, it would be like, what? So jazz hands 10 is, so much more fun. And we're not nearly as fucked up as we think we are. So, yeah, we're gonna have some fun with some clearings, shall we? Might as well, because hey, it's a gorgeous day out there. Okay, so my name is Rachel. This is Access Consciousness, and you are in the space of possibilities with Rachel, and we get to do some clearings for change. Day 10. We're going to start with the mantra of Access Consciousness, which if you look at everything, and I was going to say, I also made myself a t-shirt of this, but it hadn't gotten here yet. This is a tattoo that I put on sometimes, when I don't draw on myself. But this is like the mantra invites us to be ourselves, obviously, and for all of life to comes to us with ease and joy and glory. So EJG for short, because in Access we have a lot of, what do you call them? Acronyms. So I just made it for fun, and I'm going to stick it on my computer because my paper ones sort of fell apart. And so this one's going to be nicer. I like that. So, invitation for you to remember to be you, because it would be really boring if you weren't being you. And to recognize that you got this, whatever it is, whatever's going on, whatever you may be aware of, the ups, downs, and all arounds, you can embrace everything and welcome it all in with ease and joy and glory. So, we're going to start with that infamous mantra is in every manual, on every, you know, access product ad, whatever. It's always written there. Any book that you pick up that's an access book also says it there. All of life comes with ease and joy and glory. So some of the time I'll be saying to me, some of the time I will be saying to us because I got used to it actually with me and the kids, and we'd say to us. So works both ways. It's also us. And you know, everybody if we're willing to have it. And if anybody feels like other people aren't necessarily willing to have it, well, then you be you, boo. You say the clearing statement with me rather than actually that's the way it's written originally. All of life comes to me. And then when we change, when we're willing to embrace more, when we're willing to have all of life come to us with ease and joy and glory, well, that begins to ripple out and to invite other people to that too. And it's cool. So let me see. There was a clearing from one of Dr. Dane here's dive-in loops. That was about ease and joy and glory. I think it was from June 25. You want to look that up? It says, your willingness to have all of life coming to you with ease, joy, and glory, while all of life comes to anyone or everything else with pain, suffering, and glory, is one of the greatest gifts that you can give this universe. Please stop choosing against it. You being the difference that opens up space, that opens up possibilities, that opens up choices, that opens up ease, that opens up joy, that opens up glory, changes the field for everyone. And by the field, Dr. Dane says, I mean the quantum field. So everything that doesn't allow you to perceive, know, be, and receive the gift that that is to everyone, and to no longer avoid, defend, and resist, will you destroy and uncreate it all, please, times a godzillion. And there goes the clearing. Right and wrong, good and bad, POD and POC, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds, which I think is just so, so cool. So that's the clearing statement. If you don't remember all of the new nuances and details that have been added, everything is there at theclearingstatement.com or even accessconsciousness.com. You can look up the clearing statement there too, but so much easier to just write theclearingstatement.com and you have a lovely explanation with Dr. Dane and with Simone Milicis, and it's great. So enjoy it because it's a lot of fun. And for a lot of things and changing a lot of stuff in your life, you can just run that clearing statement, even without having complicated words in front of it. You just ask anything. Hey, whatever this is, I'm perceiving yuck and stuck and crap and whatever. Okay, whatever this is, I destroy and uncreate it all. And then you run the clearing statement, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Unlike all the years of therapy that I had done and tried to figure out everything, in my life, I didn't give therapy. I'm not a licensed psychologist or anything like that. I'm saying I was on the receiving end when I was, fresh out of college and through my 20s. I was always on somebody's couch talking and talking and complaining and crying and talking and talking. And this changed a lot more for me than anything did in the past. But everybody's different. So you do you and you choose what works for you. So we're going to begin with the mantra of access consciousness. And it is, and I've had a few sips of coffee already, so sorry, accents and funny voices and whatever might pop up, might not, but they might, because I'm asking to be more of me, and I go with humor. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. Next finger up. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a mí con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אליי בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. Feel free to sing along, or say it along. And when you say me, it's you, and you being you is the greatest invitation. So, all of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida llega a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to me with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a mí con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אליי בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים מגיעים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida llega a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. Eh, yeah. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. והסיבוב האחרון, round 10. All of life comes to us with ease and joy and glory. Todo en la vida viene a nosotros con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. כל החיים באים אלינו בקלילות, בשמחה ובגלוry. Or as I sing it sometimes, wait, I sing it in so many different ways. I won't do that to you unless I get special requests. So, just for an explanation, um, 30 times the mantra. So I run it 10 times, but I run it in the three languages. So as my math teacher from third grade would say, we just multiply it or whatever. And there you go. We have 30. We're going to do the same thing with a clearing de jour. Every day, something a little bit different. We've repeated a little bit. I want to actually go back and repeat one of the ones that the sound was really off on it. I'm not sure why, but I'll figure out which one it is at some point. Who knows? Chaos. So some will repeat, some won't repeat. But hey, we play, right? This is about chaos, inviting chaos and miracles and magic and being out of control. In other words, not being so structured and so ordered and so formalized with everything. So no form, no structure, no significance is one of the 10 commandments of access consciousness. One of the, yes, it is tongue in cheek. We say that, just for giggles, but basically it's a key for freedom in your life. If you don't have to do things in such a linear way, then you've got more fluidity available to you. When there's little cracks in the cup, the liquid can ooze out, right? So, um, or the light can come in when things aren't perfectly sealed. So it's like that. We're just letting a little chaos drift in. And chaos, all you got to do is look at my backyard. We got chaos going. Because everything grows in different ways according to what would like to grow and how it would like to grow there. And yeah, periodically we go in and weed or trim or whatever, but for the most part, it is what it is. And if you look at nature, it's like that. It's chaotic, it's playful, it's not very formalized out in nature. Obviously, if you go to Versailles and you look at the gardens, it's very formalized. But this is the invitation for something beyond the status quo, beyond coloring in the lines, of actually exploring, what do I know here? What would I like to add? What would the page like for me to add? What color would I would enjoy being part of this creation? And it's actually a lot of fun also while cooking. It's surprising. Yes, you can follow a recipe and have it be, exactly measured and everything, and that's great. I'm not dissing it. It's wonderful. I've made some really wonderful things following recipes. But it's also so much fun to just go in and say, what would like to be in my pie today? And begin to play with it that way. So, invitation to you to do that. So, we're doing our clearing du jour. And then afterwards, we're going to do what's called the crazy phrase, which to me is not so crazy. Yes, we're gonna do explosion today. Okay, so, or do I want to do explosion or the really old clearing? Explosion. Okay, what would be more fun? What would create greater? Ooh, hmm. Let's see, what would be fun? Would this be fun? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Oh, I don't have it in Spanish. Shit. All right, I thought I did. Give me it. No, I'm not gonna do that right now, but I am gonna do this one. Okay, get ready for something old, like really old. So Access Consciousness has, um, besides the Access.me app, which is where you can subscribe, and it's an app on your computer, on your phone, whatever you like, where for, I think it's $275 a month, and there's also, that's the college one. Then there's the school one that's $65 a month. So classes that don't have any prerequisites are available in the $65 a month version, and the classes with prerequisites. And by the way, classes in these things span like the last 20 something years of access. So like a living, breathing archive of so much gold, and so many tools and so many awarenesses. It's really, really beautiful. So they basically opened the vault and they created the College for Expanded Awareness. And then there's also the school version. So in there, if you go back and you listen to the early classes of Access, or you open up your reference materials, if you've taken a foundation class, you can buy the foundation class reference materials. And if you've taken a choice for possibilities class, you can purchase the complete set, if you like. And then I think there's like 7,000 some odd pages of materials that were taken out of manuals over the last 20 years or so. And so there are so many things, even the same topic. For example, I was supposed to read the reference materials today. We have a weekly gathering where we read the reference materials and have a lot of fun with them. But a friend asked to switch with me, so I'll be reading them next week. But I, in going through the materials, I opened up a bunch of the different volumes of the reference materials, and I looked up a topic. I looked up vulnerability, for example, and you find sections on vulnerability that no longer appear in the modern day manuals, but you get the information, the depth, the beauty, the change even in how we look at things, because you'll notice that the lingo in Access changes. The way the clearings are styled changes. Different topics even change. Last year, we spoke a lot about personalities and autonomy. Now we're talking a lot about cognitive dissonance and the intertwining of cognitive dissonance and platforms. And there's the reason we do that is as we get more present with something and we look at it more deeply and more deeply and more deeply, we begin to notice nuances. And sometimes it's those sort of commitment to upholding those nuances or those stuck or those fixed points of views that keep us stuck. And so, I looked up this section on vulnerability, and you see the shift and the change in the way of looking at things from different perspectives through the manual. So it's so much fun. You don't know this about me from before, but I studied archaeology when I was in college, and I really enjoyed the search and the depth and the looking at details and stuff. So I loved it. And this is sort of like that. This is going in and exploring. And it takes you on if you're willing, you ask questions, you look things up in the reference materials, and you go on this like little quest, little adventures, quest eye on question. So we're going to use a format of a clearing that's very, very, very old, very, very, very old, but we're using the modern day clearing statement at the end of it, and we're gonna have fun. So get ready to be fried because I fried just thinking about it. Thinking fries me anyway. Okay, so perceive, know, be, and receive. Everything that you refuse to, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive. That would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease, or with total ease. A billion times a billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir todo aquello que rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por billones. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pan, pack, todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. I told you, these are fries. Litfos, titfos, I just do it this way, לתפוס לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים, וגם חייבים לתפוס לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, של קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה פיגת זילין, האם תהרסו מבלי ליצור מחדש. בבקשה. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, know, be, and receive. What we refuse to, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive. That would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir todo aquello que rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo que el universo nos ofrece. Todo lo que nos permite 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por 1.000 billones. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, POD POC, todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povats, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעזים, לעולם לא חייבים, וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה פי גאדזליין, האם תהרסו מבלי ליצור מחדש בבקשה. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, note, be, and receive everything that we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with total ease. A billion times, a billion times, a billion times, a billion times, a godzillion, right and wrong and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber ser y recibir todo aquello que rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Destruye, descrea todo lo que no permite, millones por millones por millones por 1.000 millones por godzillion, acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pod and poc. Todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים וגם חייבים, לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה, מיליון, פי מיליון, פי מיליון, פי ביליון, פי גודזיליון, האם תעשו מבלי ליצור מחדש בבקשה? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything that we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos and magic and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer us with ease. Billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber ser y recibir todo aquello que rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo que el universo nos ofrece. 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por 1.000 millones por Godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pod and poc, todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים או מתחייבים וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. A billion times a billion times a billion, כפול ביליון, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Eat a little bit of coffee time. And I love coffee. And in the mug that my friend got me, it says, I don't know if you can see it. Yes, it says choose happy. So I choose happy and I choose coffee. And I choose these clearings because it's so much fun. All right, round 5. Perceive, know, be, and receive. Everything we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive. And usually, by the way, I'll start it over, but usually these clearings are written as I or you. So if I were saying it for myself, I'd say to myself, perceive, know, be, and receive everything I refuse to, dare not, must never, and must also. Um, a lot of times when we clear another person or running loops, for example, I would say, perceive, know, be, and receive everything you refuse, dare not, must never, and must also. But for this, I'm just going to go with us. So 5. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer us with ease. Billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyond. And I remember being in the parking lot of a little hotel, like a motel in Houston, not far from the Galleria, where I took my first foundation class. And I was coming back to the car and heading back to my parents' house. And I don't think it was a tape, it must have been a CD that I had of some older class. I think it was a CD. And I popped it in the car, and this was like a part of it. It was some money, something. I don't remember. It's probably on access.me at this point. But this style clearing was running. And I remember sitting there going, perceive, know, be, and receive. What do you mean? But that was also in 2011. So it was a while back, but it was still a while back on those clearings. So perceive, know, be, and receive. I did it in English. Okay, Spanish. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir todo aquello que nos rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos, y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas y abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por billones por godzillion, acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, POD, todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים, וגם חייבים, לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות רבה. מיליארד כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also. Perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir. Todo aquello que nos rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pan, poc, todos los 100, cortos, chicos, poveds, creaciones, bases, y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה פי גדזיליון, האם תהרסו מבלי ליצור מחדש בבקשה? Right and wrong and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also. Perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things and to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times, a billion times, a billion times, a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir todo aquello que yo o que nosotros rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por Godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pan, poc. Todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים או מתחייבים, וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום, להציע בקלילות. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה פי גדזיליון, האם תהרסו מבלי ליצור מחדש בבקשה? Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Perceive, know, be, and receive. Everything we refuse to, dare not, must never, and must also. Perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir todo aquello que rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por Godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pod and poc, todos los 100 cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. Algo que quiero agregar ahí en español es que cuando estamos dispuestos a recibir todo lo que el universo nos ofrece, no podemos controlar. Si esto es el regalo del caos, no controlemos lo que llega, solo llega y nosotros podemos utilizarlo para mejor. Pero todo llega, que es diferente, es nuestra manera de no filtrar, no prevenir, no poner obstáculos ahí a las cosas y permitir el recibir con facilidad, con gozo y con gloria. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאני או אתה או אנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים או מתחייבים, וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, כדי לאמץ, לאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, ולאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, קסם וניסים, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בכלילות. לא חשוב מה זה, אבל בכלילות, בשמחה ובגלורי. כל מה שלא מאפשר את זה, מיליון, אה, מיליון כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול ביליארד, כפול גדזיליון, right, wrong, good, bad, pod, poc, all 100 shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds, and yes, I'm already fried. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything. We refuse, dare not, must never, and must also. Perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things. Everything whispers, everything communicates. If we're willing to have communion, it's very different than anything we've allowed before, anything we've dictated or controlled. So it's pretty cool. That would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos and magic and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times, a billion times, a billion times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100 shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. And when we are open to receiving, there's the good, there's the bad, and there's the ugly. There's everything. And if we're receiving, we're not putting up barricades, we're not putting up barriers, we're not putting up defenses, we're not trying to protect ourselves from anything, nor protect anything else from us. There's just this fluidity, this flow, right? Our invitation is to allow everything in. And you don't have to make everything relevant. You don't have to deal with everything specifically, but you don't put up barriers to anything. Hence that vulnerability stuff that I was looking up before. And when you receive it with grace, with ease, with joy, with glory, and so we ask for ease, not always easy, okay? Sometimes uncomfortable as fuck. But if you're willing, you can receive it all with ease and joy and glory. Percibir, saber ser y recibir todo aquello que nosotros rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas, abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por Godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, pod and poc, todos los 100, cortos, chicos, povads, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא חייבים ומתחייבים, וגם חייבים לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, להקשיב לכל מה שלוחש לנו, כל מה שמסביבנו, okay? לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, של קסם וניסים שאנחנו, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בכלילות. וכל כל זה כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול מיליארד, כפול גדזיליון, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and poc, all 100 shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. ורציתי להוסיף שזה לא תמיד קל, והרבה פעמים זה מאוד לא נוח, אבל עצם זה שמבקשים שהדברים יגיעו בכלילות, בשמחה ובגלורי, זה הכל מגיע, אנחנו לא שמים קירות או הגנות או שמים שום דבר בינינו ובין הדברים. יש כזה flow, אני לא יודעת איך אומרים, זה זרימה, אנחנו זורמים, ואם אנחנו זורמים ומוכנים לקבל את הכל בכלילות, בשמחה ובגלורי, אז כל מה שמגיע עדיין יכול להיות דברים שאנחנו מקבלים אינפורמציה עליהם, אולי לא אינפורמציה של משהו שאנחנו מעוניינים בו, אבל אנחנו מקבלים את האינפורמציה ועכשיו אנחנו יכולים לעשות משהו אם יש צורך. אז כשמקבלים בקלילות, אנחנו לא חיים בעולם אטום, יש זרימה בין הכל ויש קומיוניון עם הכל. אז זה יכול להיות דבר מאוד יפה, להתחבר עם הכל. anyway, סיבוב אחרון. Perceive, know, be, and receive everything we refuse, dare not, must never, and must also. Perceive, know, be, and receive that would allow us to have communion with all things, to embrace being chaos, magic, and miracles, and to receive everything the universe has to offer with ease. A billion times a billion times a billion times a godzillion, right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100, shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Percibir, saber, ser y recibir. Todo aquello que nosotros rechazamos, no nos atrevemos, jamás debemos y también debemos percibir, saber, ser y recibir aquello que nos permitiría tener comunión con todas las cosas y abrazar el caos, la magia y los milagros que somos y recibir con facilidad todo lo que el universo nos ofrece. Mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por mil millones por Godzillion. Acertado, equivocado, bueno, malo, POC. Todos los 100 cortos, chicos, POVADs, creaciones, bases y más allá. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל את כל מה שאנחנו מסרבים, לא מעיזים, לעולם לא מתחייבים וגם חייבים. לתפוס, לדעת, להיות ולקבל, שיאפשר לנו להתחבר עם כל הדברים, לאמץ את ההוויה של כאוס, של קסם וניסים שאנחנו, ולקבל את כל מה שיש ליקום להציע בקלילות. כל מה שזה מיליארד, פי מיליארד, פי מיליארד, פי מיליארד, פי מיליארד, פי godzillion. Right and wrong, good and bad, pod and pock, all 100. Shorts, boys, povads, creations, bases, and beyonds. Okay, and now we are gonna, since I can barely hold my head straight, why did my Zoom just open? Hello, Zoom. I don't want Zoom right now. There we go. It opened up a whole page up. See, when you touch screen, you're always scrolling. And there goes Zoom again. Thanks, Zoom. Is there something I need to be aware of? Who knows? Okay. Okay. So now we are on to the crazy phrase. By the way, when I post the live, once it's up, I can go back and read the comments. For whatever reason, sadly, when I used to have StreamYard, I could see comments live for the most part. And if they were in YouTube, I could respond. I couldn't respond in a group for whatever reason, but that's why I got rid of StreamYard because it was annoying me. But that's the iffy part with this. For whatever reason, it says there are no comments, and then there are comments. So I'm not sure. One day I'm gonna have to test and see how that works and ask you guys for assistance there. But otherwise, I just read them after. So sorry if you're writing anything. Anyway, crazy phrase, not so crazy, crazy phrase. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything, no. Right. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה, ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה, ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה, ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. Everything is the opposite of what it appears to be, and nothing is the opposite of what it appears to be. Todo es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser, y nada es lo opuesto de lo que parece ser. הכל ההפך ממה שנראה, ושום דבר אינו ההפך ממה שנראה. We did it. We did it, y'all. Day 10. How's it get any better than that? Awesome. So I will add this to our guide. And how's it get any better? Mwah. See you tomorrow.